I'm working on a novel. It is a story of my life and my sister's.
Make it short and spicy. And if the main character is a girl, make sure she's married by the end.
Ow, Joe!
I want to be an artist in Rome and be the best painter in the world.
It's what you want too, isn't it?
Joe to be a famous writer.
Yes, but it sounds so crass when she says it.
My girls have a way of getting into mischief.
Well, so do I. This is Meg, Amy, Beth, and Joe.
I intend to make my own way in the world.
No one makes their own way, least of all a woman. You'll need to marry well.
But you are not married, aren't you?
Well, that's because I'm rich.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Film Optics. And today we're going to be reviewing Little Women. My name is Christian, and today I'm actually joined by two of my Cinemania co-workers. We have Hannah from the Cinemania World. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Just got done rewatching Barry season 2. Well, season 1 and 2 with my sister. She watched it for the first time. It was great.
I got you. I've actually never seen it myself, so I still need to. I know.
And Larry hasn't either because he doesn't believe in TV.
That's very true. And we also have Larry from LCScreen Talk and from the Cinemania World page. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well, and yes, that is accurate. Particularly things that air on HBO currently. My scorn has not quite softened yet, so
Too soon.
We watched Little Women this weekend, so yay.
Yeah. Larry said he saw it twice. I need to go see it at least 5 more times. And I mean, I'm
seeing it again tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, lucky
I'm
you.
so hyped.
I gotta find out some kind of way to do this between either before New Year's or on New Year's Day. It's got to happen some kind of way. But anyway, so for everyone listening out there, we're going to have a small spoiler section for those of you who haven't seen the film yet, because it just came out this Christmas Day. And then we're just going to get straight into the meat and potatoes, all the spoiler sections, and everybody will know, when to cut and run if you haven't seen the movie. But let me read the synopsis here really quick, and then we'll just dive right in. So Little Women is a 2019 American coming-of-age period drama film written and directed by Greta Gerwig, our Lord and Savior, and is the 7th film adaptation of the 1868 novel of the same name by Louisa May Alcott. And this movie stars Saoirse Ronan, Emma Watson, Florence, Pugh, Eliza, Scanlen, Dern, Timothée Chalamet, Meryl, Streep, just to name a few. And so I guess we'll just start off. I'll go last. So I guess ladies first. Hannah, what were your initial thoughts about the film overall? Like, did it make you feel some type of way, or,
Well, anyone that listens to Cinemania knows that I wasn't very excited for this movie. I'm not a huge fan of Greta Gerwig. Nothing like about like her acting or anything. I just wasn't a fan of Lady Bird, not my favorite movie. So I wasn't really looking forward to this because I knew that it was like, has been adapted a million times before. And I watched one of them. It was the one with Winona Ryder. Yeah. And I was like, it's kind of boring. So wasn't that hype for it. But I went and seen it, and this film like hit me like a bunch of bricks. Like I was not expecting it at all, and I totally jinxed it the night beforehand. I was like, what if like Little Women became my favorite movie of the year? And it like did. So I think that was God being like, this is what you get for like shitting on Greta Gerwig. So sorry. Yeah, this movie like got me out of every single way that it could. Like it made me laugh, it made me cry. Like this is the most I've cried in the theater this year, and I was so embarrassed because there were so many like mature women around me, like dry-eyed, and I was sitting over there like with my like chin quivering, like being like, oh my god, I'm gonna like die. This is my favorite movie of the year. Sorry, chapter 2.
So it has officially dethroned It Chapter 2.
Yes,
because I saw you put Marriage Story on your number 1 through what was it, Letterboxd, and then you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I gotta put It Chapter 2 back up there. I was like, Hannah, what happened?
I know, it's still my top 5.
all right, fair enough. Larry, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I also really enjoyed it. I'm also in the same kind of boat. Greta Gerwig is fine. I don't usually, I think it's her characters in films that I don't like. And she plays a similar character whenever she's an actress that's pretty self-centered, and I can't with them. So I already had like a little bit of feelings with Greta Gerwig of being like, I mean, I know everyone loves Frances Ha and Mistress America, but whatever. And then we get to Lady Bird, and I was in the same boat with Hannah on this as well. I was like, it's fine. I mean, it was a solid film overall, but I wasn't jumping for joy. And Little Women, we've had a few good ones and a lot of bad renditions of Little Women. Just last year, we had like an updated version that was just absolute terrible. So I didn't know I was that excited to get another version, but I saw the first trailer and I was like, okay, this looks good. And upon first watch, I really enjoyed it, and I think I appreciated it more though after I rewatched it yesterday. So it's not my number one of the year, but it's certainly pretty high on my list overall.
Okay, all right, I feel you. I'm pretty much in the same boat as both of you guys. I've heard of the novel Little Women, and I believe I read like a few chapters when I was in high school. I think for one of our English classes, I can't really remember, but when I first saw the posters and honestly the trailer, and I saw Florence Pugh, I saw Saoirse, and I saw Emma Watson, I was like, I'm in. Like, I'm just in 100%. And mainly, I was kind of excited. I mean, we know that Florence and Saoirse have been having both a phenomenal year, but I was actually more interested in Emma Watson's character because it's been so long since I've actually really seen her in anything. I mean, even with a lot of like the Harry Potter cast, like I know Rupert Grint was kind of sort of thinking about quitting acting, but he's actually doing a show on Apple TV Plus called Servant, directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and it just seems that, you know, a lot with the Harry Potter crew, a lot of them kind of died out after, you know, the 7-8 films that they made and, you know, went on to pursue their own projects. I think the last film that I saw Emma Watson in was Perks of Being a Wallflower. But that was about it. I know she's been in a few other things. I just haven't. No,
Beauty and the Beast?
That's right, Beauty and the Beast. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. It's the last thing I saw her actually was in Beauty and the Beast. I apologize. Let me retcon what I just said.
Her autotune singing, you didn't love it?
I didn't think it was terrible, but I do agree with you, Hannah. There's no way she cannot not be British. It's just the way she is. But I really did enjoy this movie. Normally, for me at least, Sony Pictures like makes a really good film like once every blue moon, and I believe this is produced by Sony Pictures, or I'm sorry, Columbia Pictures, which is owned by Sony Pictures, so it's all the same crap. Anyway, I really did enjoy this film. I actually cried in the theater, and it's been a long time since like it takes a lot to like make me cry, especially like for a film, but like for whatever reason, it just hit home. It was crazy. I don't know what it was. It was brilliant. I laughed, I cried. The couple next to me was like cracking up during all the funny parts. So was I. My audience absolutely loved it. It was a packed theater. I saw it on Christmas Day, and then I saw Uncut Gems, but we're not going to talk about Uncut Gems because it was. It was just
theater yesterday for my rewatch was packed as well, because the first time I saw this, it was at a screening at like the beginning of the month, but yesterday, I went, and there were people in the front row, so I'm pretty sure it was darn near sold out yesterday.
But I know that there, between the 7 adaptations of this book, I know Winona Ryder was in the 1994 version, I believe.
Yes,
that was the last one I saw, but that was like ages ago. But I think I prefer this version a lot more.
Haven't seen the Elizabeth Taylor version.
No. Same thing with The Star Is Born. You see A Star Is Born with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, and I saw the previous one. There's like 4 or 5 renditions of A Star Is Born out there. The previous one in like the 1970s with Barbara Streisand and Chris Christopherson. That one was okay, but that was the only other rendition of that I saw. But I do prefer this version of Little Women versus the one with Winona Ryder. And I don't know, the entire film itself, the way that she, you know, cuts back from like the past to the present, was very interesting. But was there anything else either one of you guys wanted to say, or you know, anything you wanted to touch on before we head into spoilers?
Sorry.
You can go ahead.
Well, first, I do think my friend would kill me if I don't call this out. I think it's very interesting that one of the the first great in many respects, all-American novel. This rendition is featuring almost all UK actresses in the lead. She often complains about like British takeover in Hollywood.
I'm totally okay with it because they are killing
she's
it.
just like, why do Brits get to play like all of these parts? Even Harriet Tubman is a British woman, Cynthia.
Yeah, that's right.
They're just like, it's such a British takeover of all these American monuments. But no, I think that Greta Gerwig, what I love that she does, I guess we can expand on this probably more in the spoiler section, is I think that she really does a great job of updating the material without like losing the integrity of the story and of the time and of the message of what's being told. We don't, go so overboard with the feminist 2019 messages, but we still inject them into the film in places they maybe weren't even there previously with the book. And I think it's done just really, really well and gives the film a nice update that once you're on 7th, 8th, 9th adaptation, you need to like keep making the story fresh. And for me, she really just did that very well, and I think the performances are great. I know people are giving Emma some slack online.
She's great in the movie. It's just
I think she's great
her
too.
accent falls a little bit, and it kind of takes you out at some point.
I don't know. People were like roasting her on Twitter. I saw that too,
accent's not that big of a deal.
Actress, and I'm like, I thought she was perfectly lovely. Saoirse Ronan is wonderful, as she has pretty much been in everything that she's ever starred in, and then. The one who's getting most of the awards and the attention, Florence Pugh.
Deservedly so.
Still show. I mean, she's so great. As our Laura Dern, Meryl Streep is wonderful as always in her limited role. Chris Cooper is amazing in yet another film where he has like this minor role. I thought he was so good in this movie too. So yeah, I think the acting was great. Yeah.
All right, Hannah, did you want to say something before?
Weirdly enough, I relate this film with Suspiria from last year. Let me explain why before you guys are like, why?
I never saw it, so I can't ask why, so you're good.
Well, it is quite a different film going to Suspiria for you, Christian.
I related to that because I think Greta did the same thing that Luca did. He took the story that's already been told and he made it his own completely, and I think that's what she did with this. And it's different here too because there's been so many other adaptions. Obviously Suspiria only had the one, but he really nuanced it, and so did Greta, and it almost kind of doesn't seem like the same movie or book at all. It seems like it's original, just like how Luca made Suspiria feel original, and that's why it's like it kind of stands above the rest of the adaptions for me, at least of the ones I've seen, because the rest you can definitely tell it's a Little Women adaptation, and not saying that you can't tell here, but it's definitely the furthest from the book from all the other adaptions, in my opinion. I think it's all the better for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that is definitely true. And of course, when you have characters from this iconic book, from the story that so many people adore, you have these characters that people love as well. So I think Greta really walked that tightrope pretty much perfectly of, as Hannah just said, is really updating it and making it her own, while still paying tribute and keeping in the vein of what it's representing.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely agree with you guys on all fronts there. I feel like I'm still new to this world, even though I know of the story, but I feel like it's been so long for me, revisiting these characters and this journey that they go through But I guess everyone listening, guys, we're just gonna dive straight into spoilers. So I'm gonna play a clip here from the movie really fast, and then we'll head into spoilers.
I've always known I would marry Rich. Why should I be ashamed of that?
There's nothing to be ashamed of, as long as you love him.
Well, I believe we have some power over who we love. It isn't something that just happens to a person.
I think the poets might disagree.
Well, I'm not a poet. I'm just a woman. And as a woman, there's no way for me to make my own money. Not enough to earn a living or to support my family. And if I had my own money, which I don't, that money would belong to my husband the moment we got married. And if we had children, they would be his, not mine. They would be his property. So don't sit there and tell me that marriage isn't an economic proposition, because it is. It may not be for you, but it most certainly is for me.
All right, and we're back. So now we're officially in the spoiler section. So Beth dies. Spoiler? I mean, we all spoiler for anyone who hasn't.
Everyone that watched the previous ones knows.
Yeah, but like I totally forgot that she does, and she's always known as like the sick one, and like I feel like she's always been referred to as the sick one, and it's like, well, she has a name, right? It's like, yeah, it's fucking Beth. Get it right.
Well, this is the most layered the character has ever been.
That's so true. Yeah.
To me, at least, because in previous adaptions, the one Winona Ryder one, I can never say her fucking name.
It's
What's
a
her
tongue
name in
twister.
Stranger Things?
Will's mom. I forgot her actual name.
I'll just refer to her as Will's mom, and the rest is review. Okay, so Will's mom, her adaptation of Little Women. Okay. Beth is just kind of like what you just said. She's like the sick one, and like she never really had like a personality. And in this one, they they kind of made Florence Pugh and her kind of similar, where they're like the like babies of the family, and like the like Florence Pugh is definitely not shy, but they're definitely like the babies, and Florence Pugh's more of a brat, and she's like, you know, just like a sweet little thing. And actually gave her like a good amount of screen time to like make us care about her and endure. Is that the right word?
Yes, I think.
Yeah. Endear us to her. Endear us to her.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm illiterate.
It's all good. So
Endear
am
us
I.
to her. And yeah, her death in this one definitely hit me like a ton of bricks, and I did not expect it because I knew it was happening. Like I was like, okay, like we're getting to the point, like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then like when it like actually like started happening, and like you could see Joe like get her book out and like start writing, and like, you know, that whole fucking like montage, you know.
Yeah.
I was like bawling the entire time. I was like, I can't do this. I like it.
It can't be happening.
It's like a big deal.
Yeah. Larry, what about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think this was the best rendition of Beth. I think this is also the best rendition of Amy. This is the first time I haven't like
she's been
hated
likable.
Amy. Yeah, I was like, I usually just like straight up am like, ugh, Amy is such an obnoxious, annoying rat character that I can't. And she has like those moments. There are definitely moments where you're just
but
like,
they're
oh my God.
cute.
There's Amy, you know, there's the Amy I once knew, but Florence Pugh does such a good job of like of making you actually feel her as a human being.
Yeah, I remember her being a bit of a brat.
Little sister
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I do think it is a little bit odd because she's supposed to be so young in the flashbacks, and then, you know, they just like braided Florence Pugh's hair.
She acts like a kid. She's like, I'm Amy.
Yeah. But at first it was a bit jarring. I will say that, since we're doing so many flashbacks to present days, when they do it like on her character, and you're basically just looking at the exact same person. Like,
pretty much.
Wait a minute.
Well, they gave her
7
bangs
years.
in the flashbacks.
Yeah. Like, okay. Because the other ones I can get behind, like Joe and oh God, what's the old?
Well, especially name? Joe, especially
Meg.
if she cuts her hair. Yeah, Meg.
Yeah, Joe and Meg. I was like, okay. And even with Joe, there was that one moment after she cuts her hair, though. Like when Meg is getting married, her hair is so long again.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. How long
I was like, wait.
Like, this is the flashback still, but how much time has passed? Because she went from nearly bald to, long lustrous hair. So I will say, in some respects, I think that the flashbacks, they took me a little bit to get adjusted to. I loved what Greta did with the colors, and that was the big distinction of like the warmth of the memories and the little bit cooler tones and like more blue hue of the current day stuff. But just as having all the same actors throughout threw me for a loop to start.
Yeah, I would definitely agree there. I really liked how, I mean, especially going back to Florence Pugh, you know, with Amy, she's known as the bratty one, as I said, and that's pretty much all I've ever honestly known her as. And it's like, okay, well, I really like the way how, even like her mannerisms, you know, when in the past, when the first time she sees Laurie, she's like, Laurie! And she like runs. I was like, oh my God, like, I feel like she's like 5 or something. She's like sprinting towards him like she's like a toddler. But like, even the first time that she meets him, she's like, I'm Amy. I was like, yo, what?
That's how like teenage girls act.
But
like,
yeah, that is.
Sister, and like when until she was about like 15 or so, like she acted like a baby. Like she was still I think a lot of people don't realize that like 15 is as young as it is. Yeah. Even though I was just 15 like 4 years ago, but still it's like definitely like there's a big jump from like 15 to like 18, even though it's like not that long in years. And like, you know, I still acted like a baby when I was 15. Like I still wanted to be like, you know, I still wanted to be cuddled with my mom, and I still like, you know, I wanted to do like things that fucking like 9-year-olds do.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah,
you're not
you
there
know,
at maturity yet.
Right. Yeah. You're not there. Even when you hit 18, it's like, yeah, I'm an adult. I can go see rated R movies by myself.
But
now.
I still want to be cuddled with my mom.
Right. It's like I still want my mom to make my chocolate chip pancakes in the morning. So there's always.
Yeah, I think this film though showed that relationship, like the flashbacks actually helped in establishing the Amy relationship with Laurie, because I think it comes off much more abrupt in previous iterations of just like, whoa, you know, like, okay, cool, because we spend so long in the center of the film, you know, more focusing on Joe and Laurie. And this film, of course, we focus a lot on Joe and Laurie as well, but since we're doing these flashback segments, we at least, you know, it doesn't feel like it comes out of nowhere with Amy and him by the end. I also think Timothée Chalamet is a great Laurie for this adaptation, because, again, Laurie is supposed to be, you know, this swoon rich dude, but he just fits so perfectly into this Little Women world that we've created here that I loved it. I know you might disagree, Christian. I think this is the performance of the year for Laura Dern for me.
No, okay. Honestly, I
agree.
No, I agree. I agree.
Here, I think she's so good in this movie. As I said, of course, Meryl Streep gets to have a lot more fun here, because she's in such a minor role, but such a fun little role that she gets to.
I definitely agree there. And hey, no offense taken for the whole Marriage Story thing, because I really like Laura Dern in Marriage Story, but then
she's fun.
They're polar opposite like performances.
I know.
Like Laura Dern in this, she just like she radiates like a warmness to her.
Yeah.
Like she feels like such a mom, and I loved that. And it reminded me of her performance in The Tale. Because it's a very like quiet performance and it's very reserved performance, but like once again, it just like she feels like a mom. Like she feels like how she talked to like, you know, her kids. Like it felt like my mom talking to me. Like I loved it so much.
Yeah, it really had that motherly vibe, and I was just like, she's just like, everything's gonna be okay. And even during, you know, and Larry was saying this a few days ago, I believe it was on Twitter, when he said this is the perfect Christmas movie. And going into it, I was like, oh yeah, there's like, I think Christmas happens like twice in this movie, and it just, you know, me seeing it on Christmas Day, it really set the mood, because I felt like I was actually watching a Christmas movie. And even when you know, I think it's during one of the first flashbacks when you know, Laura Dern, the mother, comes in, and she's you know, they have this big like Christmas breakfast out, and she's like, oh, you know, there's a family down the road, you know, with like 3 or 4 sick children, won't you please share your your breakfast with them? And the girls kind of like look like they hesitate for like a second, but then, you know, they collectively go over. And it was just an overall like great, like good film. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm like tripping up on my words here in general, but I always thought that you know, and also to touch on what Larry said about Timothée Chalamet's character with Laurie, I felt like through the movie he was like low-key hitting on like every sister, but at the same,
sure.
but
I
like
I just think Timothée Chalamet's very likable.
Oh yeah,
and, like,
absolutely.
He's a flirty person. So
Yeah, but it's like, you know, he's a teenage, like, you know, Italian orphan, so it's like, yeah, he's gonna be a horn dog, because honestly, I probably would have done the same thing if I was in his shoes. So it's like, I mean, how old is, like, what, he's in his teens in the film, or is it more of a, I can't remember the exact age that they were.
I think he's around like Joe's age. I think that's why it's kind of like
okay.
Starts off. I think he's like right around there.
Okay.
They're not too far off in age, like between her and Amy. But...
Right. Wait, how old were they? I'm blanking on their ages. I'm sorry. It's like I said, it's been ages, but
I think they're all like not older than 18 in like the flashbacks.
That's what I thought.
The flash forward, Florence Pugh says, or she's referenced to be 20. So
that's right. That's right.
We can assume she's about 13.
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah. So they definitely aged her down a bit. It's like, all right, Florence, we need you to tap into your inner tweens.
She looks like young, very young.
Oh yeah, I can't remember how old she is in actual real life, but
her accent.
She's like around Timothée Chalamet's age.
Yeah, they definitely have been in like their 20s, late 20s. Wait, what did you say, Larry?
No, I was just saying Florence and Saoirse, their accents were like perfect.
Yeah, no, they really were.
Speaking of American accents, their American accents were spot on.
Yeah, and the first time that I saw Saoirse, I believe she was also in Mary Queen of Scots. I could be wrong.
Yes.
I never saw that movie yet. I think it's on HBO and I need to check it out. But the first time I saw Saoirse was the first time I actually saw her ever was she was on the Graham Norton show, which I absolutely love. So I knew that, you know, she wasn't American. I think is she Scottish? Irish, okay. And
she plays the Scottish Queen in Mary Queen of Scots.
Oh, okay. There we go. There we go.
A slightly different accent. Her native way of speaking, I suppose.
Yeah, I've never heard the name Saoirse, and I never would have guessed it was actually spelled that way. But that was the first time I saw her. Then I saw her, I watched Lady Bird earlier this year because I've been meaning to check it out. And I was like, wow, like she has like a really good American accent. But I feel like for a lot of British actors, it's very easy for them to slip into our accent, but it's very hard for us to slip into theirs because they can smell it from a mile away. I swear. I have a few friends over in the UK, and I'll try like a little bit of a British accent there, here and there. They're like, some words are like this are okay, but others it's like, yeah, that just sounds so fake, and it's like
sometimes they have.
But this is what I hear from you.
Yeah, sometimes you get like Benedict Cumberbatch sounding exactly the same as Hugh Laurie because they both kind of put on that same exact voice whenever they have to speak in an American accent.
Yeah,
Benedict. They're not allowed to be British, or as we've learned from our pal Tyler Calvert. I don't know what Karen Gillan is. Is she Australian?
She is Scottish. She is Scottish.
Oh, she's Scottish.
Yeah.
Well, she too. Apparently, her American accent is Nebula. Like so.
Pretty much. Yeah.
All the time, whenever she has to speak with an American accent, I'm like, oh, Nebula's here. Like,
yeah.
Karen's having to speak American now. But, yeah.
One of us.
No, and I think Saoirse, she does such a great job. Same thing with Florence throughout this year. She's given 3 very different performances throughout 2020. Mm-hmm. They're all very distinct. And I think it just kind of shows what a versatile, great actress she is. I think she could be in the conversation for Midsummer or for Little Women, honestly, in my book for award season. And I'm just glad she's kind of getting that recognition, amping into award season.
Yeah, she has been killing it.
I'm so excited to see her and so much more stuff. I actually wanted to bring up my favorite scene in the movie, and that's that scene that you're referencing before, is the scene between Amy and Joe, and they're like on the staircase, and Joe had just cut her hair. And in the movie, they all, I don't know, it's easy to like maybe not realize they're like still like little girls in the movie. at some points, because like, yes, they act childish or stuff like that, but like they're all like still like very mature throughout the whole movie for the most part, except for maybe Amy. But you know, they act like women, right?
Yeah.
And I love that one scene because it gives you a moment to breathe and like be like, oh well, she's crying about cutting her hair. Like this is like such like a, you know, girl thing that, you know, it happens throughout like every girl's life basically, where it's like you get a bad haircut and like you think it's the end of the world. And like I love that moment. It just felt really warm to me, and like me myself, I was like, I'm relating to this so much right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because as soon as she
with her sister and she just like holding her,
she's like, yo, like, you know, I sold my hair, you know, to help out the family, and then out of nowhere, like later on, it was like an after effect. It was like, it was so delayed. And then like she sits there, then she just breaks down. She's like, what have I done? I was like, oh my gosh, she is.
That's so real and relatable. You know, you do something, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be like, you know, an adult. I'm gonna support. And then after, you're like, oh my gosh, no, what have I done?
Seriously.
I take it back.
I want it back. I want it back.
like, throughout the whole movie, it's very like, I don't know, it's definitely slice of life, and I didn't like expect that to be a scene like that, of just like, you know, her sister holding her and her crying about her hair.
Yeah,
it felt very real, and it hit home.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah, like I love the moment where Chris Cooper just like sits down and listens to Beth playing the piano in his house.
That was really nice.
It was a really beautiful small moment of the film of just like, oh wow. I also love the speech that we see in the trailers, but they don't go all the way with this speech, because I find
with
that
Joe's
to be
speech
really relatable. Yeah, of her, you know, talking about women being so much more. But I love that it actually ends up being about being lonely. And I think it's a really relevant, you know, issue of, you know, this age of being a woman as well, of being strong and being that face of feminism and wanting to be taken seriously, but also, hey, look, I'm just lonely.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know, oftentimes we get so caught up in woke culture itself as well now that we can kind of forget, you know, I don't know, that it's really frustrating that emotion, you know, that we often take emotion out to show strength. Like we have to remove any sort of emotion or irrationality to depict strength, when in reality, you know, that's not the case. That's not how it really is.
And you know, too, I think a lot of people have the wrong idea of feminism a lot of the time. Yeah. And the scene, you know, in the trailer, it does seem that way, where it's going to be like, you know, women are better than men, you know, all that, but it's not that at all. And it's a good reminder for people who do have the wrong idea of feminism, that, you know, we aren't wanting to, you know, be like, oh, well, we're better than men and all this. It's like, you know, we can still be like, we are strong, we're independent, and, you know, we want to be, I don't know, we want to, I'm thinking of the word, fuck, but like, you know,
no,
want to stand alone, we are our own person. That, you know, we want that to be very clear, but also, you know, we aren't like opposed to like wanting love, and like if you're straight, you know, we want to be with somebody, we want to like, you know, have a nice relationship with a man, woman, whatever. And it's like a lot of people lose that a lot of the time, because they're still stuck on the whole like, oh well, they're trying to like say that they're better than men, like it's when it's not that way. And I love that scene, because, you know, it doesn't tread into that territory where that's gonna make you roll your eyes.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's very, you know, my sister, she says she's feminist, and then I was like, okay, do you know what that means, or are you just saying it just to be,
well,
you know?
I think everyone's definition of feminism is very individual.
Right.
Also, I don't think that there's a distinct definition.
Right.
You know, everyone.
And I guess my point is, you know, with feminism, it's not about, you know, demeaning men or saying, oh, we're better than men. It's about equality for everyone. And that's something I really agree with. Sorry, go ahead.
What I love about this movie at large is I think it gives off, you know, I mean, it is a feminist movie, even with
course.
our
Right.
protagonist in the end ending up married. Again, that's not, that's like the complete wrong idea of what feminism is, and I don't understand. But this year, we've seen feminism done wrong so many times. We've seen the girl power message just executed really poorly, and the message just being completely lost. And, Charlie's Angels, Black Christmas really just missed the mark on executing it in any sort of like good fashion.
Yeah.
So I just appreciate a story that's, been told several times, but as I kind of mentioned in my opening, that Greta was able to inject an updated version of it. Like, it's definitely updated for the time while still being feminine, like I think that's I really love when we're able to strike that balance of strong women, pro-feminist message that is still feminine. And as I was saying, I think a lot of times we suck emotion out, or I don't know where this adaptation is in the modern mind, that strong woman has to be not a woman.
Right.
And so I just appreciate films like this that keep their softness, that keep the femininity, while also injecting the messages, and it worked beautifully.
Yeah. And speaking of messages, really quick, even when, we have Saoirse's, her speech, and I also liked when Florence, when she's talking to Laurie, and he's like, I think the poets might disagree, and they're talking about love, and she's saying, I believe that we have, love doesn't just happen, we have some kind of control over who we love. And she's talking about how, for marriage, for her, it's like a economical, I forgot the exact term, but she's pretty much preaching that, if she were to get married, any money that she makes will no longer be her own. It'll be her husband's. Any children that she bears for, her husband, they won't be her children. They'll be, I think she called it like an economic like proposition for her, at least. And I thought that that really spoke to me as well. She was absolutely right. I mean, back then, towards the Civil War, it's unfortunately how things were, and we're moving towards a better future for equality for everyone, regardless of race, sexual orientation and whatnot. But I actually wanted to ask really quick for Beth. Is Beth, the girl who plays Beth, Eliza Scanlen, is she British as well? Or is she just an American like us? I feel like she's an American like us. Or like, let's give the American the sick part.
Let me look it up.
Sure. Yeah, but I think that moment was like a good, again, a good reminder of, we throw these terms out of gold digger at women constantly. It's like, listen, not even 50 years ago, it was still an economic proposition. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And you see something like this, and you're just reminded, well, women did have to take money into consideration, because this is how society was, y'all. So
yeah.
History, a lot of these negatives that we derive in modern day culture come from a place of history, and just kind of getting that understanding in a way that works is really cool to see.
Yeah, I was
a good
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It's a good counter to Saoirse's character too, where she's all about wanting to find someone that she truly loves and doesn't want to force marriage. Was just Laurie loved her obviously a lot, and she just couldn't get to that point with him, which is perfectly fine. And she, throughout the whole movie said, I don't want to get married or, anything like that unless I truly love the person. And that kind of changes at the end of the film when she's second guessing it, because she does just want to be with somebody. Yeah. But then, we have Amy, who is the polar opposite, and she's like, well, I got to think for myself, and I got to, go about this in money, that kind of way. And it's the whole film, it does put a nice bow on it when her and Laurie get married, because he's obviously, and he's in the marriage to make her feel loved, and it's true love. And I love that the different, tripping over all these words.
No,
today.
trust me. I do this all the time.
I love the difference between those two. It creates a nice tension in the film.
Yeah, and I really like when they're talking about love, when Joe and her mother are talking about love, and she's talking about how she's lonely, and she's asking, do you love Laurie? And it wasn't like a defining yes. I forgot exactly what she said. She said that I think she
didn't say anything actually.
I thought she said she wanted to be loved, but she didn't say I love Laurie. And then her mom was like, that's not the same thing.
Yeah, she did say I want to be loved. It's like when her mom was asking her if she loved Laurie.
Yeah.
She didn't say anything.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. And I really liked, how they executed that on screen, because there's so many, people today, and like we all know the dating in today's world is pretty fucked. I'm not gonna lie. Like it really is. I mean, sometimes you go on, on a nice date and it just never leads anywhere. But sometimes you just, I don't know, people just like to ghost people like 24/7. It's like some people just don't. A lot of people I've noticed, like especially like in our generation. I mean, I'm a little bit older, but it's. Even people like a lot of like my fraternity brothers, like a lot of them just aren't really in a relationship right now, because it's like, it's not really worth it. And then, people are just, I don't know, when it comes to love in this film, I think it kind of, echoes what's happening today especially when Saoirse was saying, there are a lot of like quote unquote lonely people out there, but like, as we've been saying this entire time, it's, we have to like hide our emotions, and everyone's like too proud to like admit that they love someone, because obviously throughout the film we see between Laurie and Joe, they obviously had something there, but Laurie was like, yes, let's go for it. And then you have the other person, she had like so much doubt, but at the same time she didn't want to get married. She didn't even want Meg to get married when they I forgot where she went to. It was some kind of party that she ran into Laurie.
The debutante ball.
Yeah, and then and Joe's like, make sure Meg doesn't fall in love or whatever, and she was
she didn't want to get her to get married on her wedding day.
Right. Yeah. And she's like, like Joe's is so against the idea of marriage, and it's like, if you really sit down and think about it, yeah, like sometimes it is a bit so
against the idea of marriage. I think that it was in that sense, I think that it was more her like just wanting to have her sister and like wanting to have her family together, and not like having someone take her sister away from her.
That's true. I never thought. Yeah, that is true. I never thought of it that way.
How do we feel about like the final relationship? Because I definitely think that is an aspect that is the jumping back and forth kind of leaves you without a whole lot of time with Joe, and I forget his name, the professor that she ends up with.
Yeah, they didn't really explore it all that much.
I don't know. I always get like a little eked out in films when we use the word love and they've spent like 2 minutes on screen together. And it's like, clearly she had somewhat of a relationship with him when they were living in that same boarding house, but not really, because he was still just kind of like leaving stuff at her door, and then she just like blew up, got pissed, and left. Like, like so it was kind of like I mean, yeah, he came here.
Did they say love though? I think that she just
the
like
other people said love. They're like,
oh, okay.
You love him.
Yeah.
Don't lie, you love him. And chase him. So I think that's definitely an aspect of the film that falls a little bit flat for me, is that final moment, just because I'm like, I don't know. We didn't spend much time developing this to make it, this big grand finale. But
right.
That's one of the few kind of minor issues I have with the movie overall.
That didn't bother me because she didn't get married to him.
Yeah.
So like it was kind of okay for me.
She just convinced him to stay, to put his life. I mean, I guess we don't know if they're married or what they're doing at the
That is true.
Well,
They
she
kind
said
of
they didn't get married.
Oh, they didn't?
Yeah, she said that in like her little narration.
Yeah.
That's right.
Bopping around, I was like, now free and Amy have a baby, and everybody's teaching at her school or whatever. But I also really liked the copyright thing. I feel like that's what the purists are not going to like, maybe, is that framing device.
Yeah.
Like, that's completely new, is the framing device with this book and her keeping the copyright of her book and all this, because they're kind of framing it around writing the story of Little Women. But I really liked that. personally.
I did too. Honestly, like it relates so much to like, you know, Hollywood today, and it's like, you know, why would I want to, you know, let go of my own property? And there's so many, you know, legality matters when it comes to, you know, adapting someone's book to film. Because even with George R.R. Martin, Game of Thrones, and even J.K. Rowling, you know, they still own their book rights, but, you know, they sold the movie rights, you know, J.K. Rowling, Warner Brothers, and then George R.R. Martin with Game of Thrones, HBO, which is honestly still fucking Warner Brothers because it's all the same company. But yeah, I really liked how they explained that, and it's just like, it just reminds me of so many just so many things happening today within the film industry. So
what Oscars do you think this has a shot at getting in for?
Production design, costuming, maybe Florence Pugh for supporting. I don't know. It's a strong year for supporting, so I don't know if she will get in, but I would love to see her get in for supporting.
I think she will win for supporting. Yeah, score was great. I know.
Not editing. I don't think it'll get editing.
Yeah,
I was have an issue with it.
That's what I was actually gonna bring up.
To be one of the weaker points on the film overall, but I still think it's definitely.
It didn't bother me.
It didn't bother me at all.
For picture and director, still, I think it's. I don't think it's necessarily a shoo-in by any means for those two categories, but I think it definitely. I wouldn't be shocked if Greta Gerwig and the Little Women got in for Best Picture and Best Director.
I really wish Greta was.
It is a shoo-in. I mean, I will be stunned if it does not get nominated for production and costume design, certainly.
Yeah.
Score is also a pretty high probability. That would probably be my third bet I'd place on it. Score.
Adapted screenplay.
Yeah, adapted screenplay as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a strong one.
Yeah, I mean, I know even with Saoirse being, you know, for lead actress, I think she stands a pretty good chance. But for some reason, I think Florence Pugh would stand more. It's so tough.
I feel like they're gonna go one or the other. I don't think that they're gonna give Saoirse and Florence a nomination. And I think Florence probably has the best choice.
More and more because the supporting cast is taking over on the acting front.
I don't know. Like, I mean, The Irishman, it was fine, but like. Really?
I still haven't watched it.
It's honest.
Yeah, this
like,
one, I don't know. I'm like, I think Florence Pugh is the one that they're definitely putting all their eggs in that basket when it comes to the acting category. I mean, of course, they're Saoirse, but
which sucks because I think this is Saoirse's best performance of her career.
There we go.
It's personally my favorite performance.
I mean, thinking about it, yeah, because a lot of people are saying, is this better than Lady Bird? Is, you know, has
miles above Lady Bird.
Yeah, has Saoirse outperformed herself? And I would say yes. I really enjoyed it all the more.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
No, I've not.
Like that's another one that she got. Didn't she? I don't remember if she actually got a nomination. I think she did.
She did.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure she got a nomination, or obviously like Hannah, the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah.
A much smaller role there for her, but still.
I love that movie. Sorry.
Me too.
No, sorry.
Have you seen it, Christian?
I have not seen it. There's so many things I have. Like, I just watched Short Term 12 for like the first time, like earlier this year.
First time.
Yeah, and it's like
Grand Budapest.
Yes, please.
It's so good. Have you seen any Wes Anderson film?
I might have.
Wes Anderson. You either like him or you don't.
I feel
okay, what has he made that I might know? Because
Fantastic Mr. Fox, Isle of Dogs, Grand Budapest Hotel, Moonrise Kingdom.
I've seen bits and parts of Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isles of Dogs. My friend told me to check both of those out.
I think Grand Budapest is also his most accessible. So, like, if you're coming into
even then, it's not really that all accessible.
No, but I feel like it's easier to get into that than like Moonrise Kingdom or Life Aquatic or something. But
okay. I'll definitely have to check. No, I'll definitely have to check out his work. The only Budapest I know is the one they keep talking about, the MCU, which you still don't know anything about because
Me too. Florence coming.
they kept mentioning it, even in what was it, Endgame. And oh my gosh, Hawkeye's like, oh, this is so much better than Budapest. I'm like, what happened in Budapest? You keep bringing it up in all these films. I want to know what happened in Budapest.
She will give us your answers. The all-knowing Florence Pugh.
Oh, I'm so happy she's in the MCU. Like, wow, she's killing it. She is killing it. But actually, I looked up really quick the Eliza Scanlen.
She's Australian.
Yes, yeah, she's fucking Australian. Yeah. So he's like, are there no Americans? No.
It's the old ladies, Laura and.
Yeah.
They're the of the cast.
Hey, I'm okay with it.
Nope.
These Brits are taking over. So, and these Australians.
Oh yeah, Timothée Chalamet isn't even American.
He's not.
He's not American.
No,
either.
he's French.
Oh,
no, that's why The King was so funny to have him playing the like.
Oh my gosh, didn't even realize that. Did you guys watch The King?
Yes.
Robert Pattinson. Oh my gosh, I'm in that movie. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it was a bit slow at times.
That turned it off. I got bored.
It is a bit slow at times, but I was.
Ahead to the charade scene.
Stop the fucking charades! Stop it! I had no clue he was French. He loves that meme. He loves it.
It's a great moment. A pretty over the top, ridiculous moment. We just need like a Mary Queen of Scots and the King like crossover, so we can get Saoirse and Timothée back again.
This will definitely not be the last time they work together. Maybe the next credit. So
when is Greta Gerwig's next film?
I don't know.
The next time they work together.
I would like to know though, between Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach making like two of like the best movies this year. This is like an amazing part.
I just love that scandal of them being like, so Marriage Story is about you cheating with Greta Gerwig. Yes. No.
It's so phenomenal.
He got real defensive too. So I was like, okay, Noah, we see.
It's like,
I just found out that he was like 50 years old. I was like, oh,
he looks good for 50 years old.
These weird, I don't know. And then Florence Pugh is dating Zach Braff, who's much older than her.
Oh, yeah. I don't get the controversy behind that. That kind of makes me mad that people are still pressed about it. And I'm like, they're both like consenting adults. It's not that serious.
People be going.
It's like being back in high school. It's like a freshman dating like a sophomore, or like I don't know, a junior dating like
like 23.
Yeah, she's like in her mid
24. He just turned 24, and they're about the same age, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, and Saoirse, I think she's like 25, 26. She's not that old.
Saoirse's the same age as Timothée Chalamet, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I think so.
She just got a younger breakthrough.
I don't know how old Emma Watson is. I think she's a little bit older.
I think she's the oldest.
I think Emma Watson's like 30, maybe.
Yeah, she has to be in her 30s
Wait,
now.
What?
Well, yeah, because I'm trying to think. Okay, when Harry Potter came out.
Do we really need to look this up right now?
I mean, why not?
Saoirse's 25.
That's what I thought. Okay.
All right, let's look up Emma. All right, hold on. Let me look.
She's
29. Yeah.
Okay. So
I knew she was like just a little bit older than me. I thought so.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, she's
Emma Watson.
Well, yeah.
Florence is 23.
Yeah.
She's only 23. Oh my gosh! Wow.
Baby.
She's a baby. Well, I'm only like 3 years older than her, so it's whatever. 26, baby. Actually, I'm 20.
I'll be Meryl Streep.
Oh. No, I'm actually 27.
Old, bitter, crotchety bitch in the corner.
Honestly, the older we get, the more I relate to Squidward every single day of my life.
Also, I do love that hypocrisy too, that they're like talking about being like a self-made woman or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also like, well, bitch, you're a widow.
He's like, well, that's because I'm rich.
You know, like, yeah, you know, money, but you're also a widow sitting here preaching nonsense. I don't know, but
that is
Meryl Streep told it like it is, though.
I'm rich.
Yeah, she's like, I can do whatever I want. There's a reason why I'm not married, so.
I just love when she's like, no, I don't like to be kissed.
Yeah.
She did not like that at all. She's like, she was telling Amy, she's like, you need to marry well. She's like, you're the fate of your family now. I'm like, that is a lot to like,
Go back to your little painting.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, sorry, Beth has scarlet fever. And it's like, oh, I cried so hard when that happened. And what, like you said, Hannah, I knew it was coming, and I just couldn't hold it. I was like, why is this, like, they executed it so well. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
I can't even remember all the parts that I cried at because I cried so much.
I felt
like there was just moments of like warmness that like just like got me. And like
they were just so happy,
like tears rolling down my eyes.
The way they would like kept talking over each other, and you know, within the good times, I guess you could say, it felt like such a authentic family, like straight to the core. It just felt like, yeah, it felt like that they knew each other for ages, and you know, it's just chemistry was great all around. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There
all
are no
definitely seem
tears
like
in these
siblings.
ducks.
He's like, I'm a man.
No, I'm just heartless.
Oh.
I cried over everything.
Beth,
So
girl,
I
knew
literally
it was coming. I knew the end was near, girl. Just waiting.
It was just
I would cry over the like anything. Like I literally cried today because I looked up why my cat like touches me when she sleeps, and the internet was like, oh, it's because she's like trying to protect you, and I started crying.
When I went to go see
Filming herself, she's like, wait, I can feel the tears. Let me turn on the camera.
when I went to go see Avengers Endgame for like the upteenth time in theaters, I think it's when they did the quote unquote re-release with the unseen footage. I was like, this is just extra Blu-ray DVD bullcrap that you're trying to sell me on. But anyway, there was this girl right next to me, and right before Tony died, I'm telling you, she was bawling her eyes out.
That was me.
Like, I'm like, this movie is like, it's been out in the theater for at least 2-3 months. And like, she's sitting there with her boyfriend. I was like, could you not?
I sat next to, because like the theater was full for Avengers. It was like completely full because I went at like a midnight screening, and I had to sit next to somebody I didn't know, and it was like this mom, like her like daughter, and so she had no idea what the fuck was going on. It was very obvious, and I was sitting there and I was like fucking like losing my mind, like literally doing like the ugly like, and like and like I like could not like contain myself, and like I heard her turn her daughter and go, this is so serious. I was like,
I heard that woman.
I felt so bad, and like she kept like looking at me every time like I sniffled, and I was like,
it's like Florence Pugh in Midsummer after those two old people like jump off the cliff, and she's just like walking, and she's just like bawling her eyes out, and then she just stops and just lets it all out at once. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much how I felt at the end of Little Women, but at the same time, it had a really great ending, but I was still crying. I was like, why did Beth have to die?
It's just a really warm film,
yeah,
to me. Like, it seems like a movie that I'm gonna like watch like for years and years and years and be able to just watch it like over and over. It seems like one of those, it's like, it reminded me of Wreck-It Ralph in that way, because Wreck-It Ralph was one of those movies for me where
That's
it's like
right.
a movie that I can watch like over and over and over again because it just feels so warm and homey. Like, this feels like, you know, the perfect movie to watch at home with like your family.
Yeah, and especially around the Christmas time, you know, it is. I think it's definitively the perfect Christmas film. But was there anything else you guys wanted to touch on? Comments, questions, concerns before we wrap up here?
Oh, I think I got it all out.
Me too. I think we touched on everything.
Pretty much, yeah. But I just wanted to thank you guys both for coming on. Like, seriously, it means a lot. And everyone listening at home, you can listen to this podcast here on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and Anchor. And you can follow Film Optics over on Instagram and Twitter. Optics is spelled OPTIX. And wanted to get both of your guys' social media. Hannah, let everyone know where they can find you on the internet.
At Movies and Cats on Twitter.
All right. Larry, what about you? What's coming up on your channel? I see those videos popping out every week. I'm like, Jesus, dude, he's like pumping these puppies out. I'm like, we haven't done anything since like Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, just waiting for Devin to come back from out of town. But yeah, what's coming up on yours?
the busy stretch. So you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, all at LCScreen Talk. I'm currently working on my top, I think it's 30 movies of the decade, but it's not going to be a countdown. I'm just kind of putting together something for that. And then I'm having most anticipated for the year, as well as I think I have my favorite film characters coming out of 2019 and favorite film moments of the year. And then after I see Just Mercy, I know mine is going to be so late compared to everybody else's.
Honestly, same.
I'm going to wait to see Just Mercy before I release my favorite films of 2019.
Oh, okay. There we go. Nice. And Hannah, got anything coming up on Twitter? Any hot takes?
A new hot take, girl.
I don't even know. I don't think I have anything controversial to say.
She's like, I'm done ranting about it. Chapter
and puts it chapter 2 back to number.
Right, I swear it's gonna happen. She's gonna be like, I'm so sorry.
Well, I'm seeing Little Women again tomorrow, and then I'm gonna watch it chapter 2 again tomorrow.
Definitive day tomorrow.
I saw it chapter 1. I haven't seen the second one yet.
Her back. That's the question. What are the powers of Bill Hader? Tomorrow will tell the tale.
Yes, we will see. We will see if Bill Hader can change my mind again.
Well, you know what? No, this doesn't feel right. She's gonna change it. I swear, she's gonna change it. But it's.
I mean, that's why I changed Marriage Story. Is because I watched it. I watched it for the first time, and I was like, "Yep, this is it, right?" And then I rewatched it chapter 2, and I was like, I can't do it."
She's like, forgive me, Pennywise. Forgive me, Pennywise.
The only thing that could beat Pennywise this year is Greta Gerwig.
There you go.
I swear, we got what, 3 days left of 2019. If it changes before then, I will be very upset. If it doesn't change then before, Larry, we could call this a win that Little Woman has definitively dethroned It Chapter 2.
Larry wants It Chapter 2 to be my favorite of the year. He wants me to stick to it.
I'm a little bit of a troll, so I'm like, come on.
Oh, it's
I'm pulling part of you, Pennywise. I'm glad we have one last rewatch on the horizon.
Just how Tyler was trolling for Lita Battle Angel for best anime. I was like,
what do you still have left on your docket there, Hannah? That might dethrone both of them. We don't know.
Oh, geez. I don't know. Just Mercy, maybe?
I'm actually very excited for that film to come out.
I'm actually really, really excited for Just Mercy also.
You'll probably love Uncut Gems. Don't like Christian and I.
I did not like that movie at all. I'm trying to understand what's so great about it.
Good Time. So
I mean, I love Good Time. I loved it. And this, I don't know, it didn't do it for me.
Well, see, I saw.
I've seen 50 minutes of Uncut Gems, and I absolutely loved it. So
yeah,
oh my god,
I feel like you're gonna love it. I think
oh no.
For most obnoxious.
She found that link. That's exactly what happened.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I kind of like obnoxious movies.
Hey, it's so. Wait, did you like Lighthouse?
Lighthouse is my second favorite movie of the year.
Okay. Oh wow.
Wait, second or third?
Second.
Wow.
Yeah.
Over It?
Yeah. No. Wait, no. I forgot I changed Little Women to my favorite.
No, she's like, wait.
Third.
Like Pennywise being thrown down by Willem Dafoe.
I forgot the Little Woman was my first. It's a recent change. Okay.
Oh man. That's
after all year.
After all year.
Yeah, it's number 3. It's been a while that It Chapter 2 has been my favorite of the year.
And that, that dethroned Spider-Man, right?
It did dethrone Spider-Man.
Oh my gosh.
Been racking its way down my list.
I was like, award season.
I love it.
A number on Spider-Man, but Pennywise has stayed strong. It's fighting up in the award season.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. I'm sorry, Bill Hader. He just has this. He has his hold on me, okay?
Oh my gosh. But anyway, really quick, thank you again for everyone coming on to the podcast. We'll definitely have to do this again. And we will see you guys all in the next one. And don't drink and drive. I don't know. I'll just end it there.